come under my spell. You will be my slave of love.
My gosh, Bela, how do you do that?
You must be double-jointed. And you must be Hungarian.
One of the things I said to Tim right off the bat, I said, you know, what you've got here is a 74-year-old Hungarian morphine addict, alcoholic, who has mood swings. That would be hard enough. But he has to be Bela Lugosi, who everyone knows. I said, you know, this could be the worst thing that ever happened. There are a lot of elements in Lugosi's career and as a man and what he stood for, what he cared about, his successes, his disappointments. There were a lot of things I understood intuitively and innately. So there is a lot of me. I don't know whether everything I am is in Lugosi, but I was able to do a lot of things. I also saw a lot of humor. Because it's a Tim Burton movie, there's a certain kind of style that's needed. I mean, it can't be exactly a kitchen sink kind of approach to a character. It is a comedy. It is somewhat extended, and there's a life of a certain kind.
Aren't you scared, little boy? I'm going to drink your blood.
You're not a real vampire. Those teeth don't frighten me.
Very early age, when I was about 10, I decided what I wanted to do was be the guy who makes the monsters for the movies and do the makeups. And you know, Karloff, I'm a bigger Karloff fan than a Lugosi fan, but both of them, they're the two masters of horror.
Karloff? Fuck you! Karloff does not deserve to smell my shit!
I had read in the trades that Tim Burton was going to do this movie about Ed Wood, and that Martin was going to play Bela Lugosi. And I just said to myself, I have to do this. You know, I felt it was really important because I'm a Bela Lugosi fan and actually an Ed Wood fan. You know, and I knew that a lesser makeup artist might do too much. You know, and I really felt it was important to keep him human. You know, and to be subtle about it. So I wrote Tim a letter and I said, I have to do this, even if I have to do it for free. I'll do it.
Too constrictive. I can't even fold my arms.
It's easier many times to do more. You know, Martin's face was not ideal to play Bela Lugosi, but I thought it was good enough that I could kind of get the essence of Lugosi, you know, without an exact copy of that. You know, I have a life cast of Bela that was taken by a makeup artist by the name of Clay Campbell for a film called Return of the Vampire. And, you know, Bela had this very kind of round face, and Martin's face is much longer. And you know, Martin's got a great big upper lip, and Bela has like no upper lip at a long distance there. And I thought, you know, I think I can still do this. And I mean, it really was a case of less is more. The way the process starts is, you know, I mean, I took a life cast of Martin, and then I sculpted on his life cast these new features. And the first thing I did was the nose, and he had that cleft chin. So I did those two things, and the lip. And his ears were wrong, so I added ears. What else was there? Let me see. Nose, chin, lip. Yeah, I think that was it.
Well, it's coming along. We're not quite finished yet, but soon.
I didn't actually apply the makeup on a daily basis. V. Neal applied the makeup. It turned out in the black and white photography that the way that I originally painted it, it needed some more work. So V ended up actually painting it very much more theatrically than I did. But in the black and white film, it looked better.
She's an artist, this lady. Right away, I feel Hungarian.
He hated being stuck with his accent. It hurt his career. In fact, one of the things I did, which very few people know, excepting Peter Medak, who's a Hungarian director, called when he saw it. He said, Martin, it's the best Hungarian I've seen outside of Budapest. And I said, thank you. He said, because you are not an actor trying to do a Hungarian accent, you're a character trying not to, which is exactly what I did. I learned the accent, I learned where the tongue goes, and I tried not to do it, which is what he did. Now that's a subtle choice, but it's exactly what I did. I couldn't find tapes, Hungarian dialect tapes, so I bought Hungarian language tapes. and literally would practice the language and see where the tongue would go and try and, I wanted the accent to be perfect. I wanted everything to be perfect. And there were very many differences between us. I watched 35 Lugosi films and then 4 or 5 interviews that exist on one that's actually staged that he did in the very early 30s with this gal, and it's kind of cute because he scares him in the end. There's a still photograph that appeared in newspapers. Check it out. It's a photograph that appeared in tabloids, and Lugosi was the first one who publicly went into a rehabilitation place and publicly announced it. There's a shot that I used as a guide. He looked shriveled and small, and I did that. I looked teeny, and I wanted to. I wanted to look as if all the juice had oozed out of him. I wanted to look like the picture, the actual picture, because that told me something about how he was. He didn't live too long after that, you know. So he looked like he was made out of balsa wood, that he was going to break, because he was a powerful actor. He had an enormous strength and force, and we didn't get to see the kinds of things he was capable of doing it, you know, because he wasn't permitted to. He should have done some classical stuff, but, you know, accents.
As I mentioned, you know, I said I would do this for free if I had to, and I practically did, you know, because it really was a labor of love. I really wanted to do it. It was important to me to do it, and you know, some people are kind of thinking, well, what's wrong with you? Why are you even bothering to do this? You know, it was kind of a little film and so on, but you know, it paid off. I mean, that little labor of love kind of project got me an Oscar, you know, and it got Martin one as well.
My aim was to make him sad and funny at the same time, without ridiculing him. I wanted it to be an homage, a love letter to him. There was a piece written when I got the New York Film Critics Award. It's quite beautiful. The Oscar goes to Martin Landau, its shadow goes to Bela Lugosi.